The Scots call lakes lochs, and one of the longest lakes there is Loch Ness, which went viral in the 1930s due to sightings of the Lochness Monster. On the shores of the beautiful Loch Ness lies the ruins of a castle with the remains of a 5-story medieval tower, a site rich in history and dramatic scenery, namely Urquhart Castle in the Scottish Highlands. The castle is on the A82 road, 21 kilometers southwest of Inverness and 2 kilometers east of the village of Drumnadrochit. Join the Arifs as we explore Urquhart Castle. The origins of the castle can be traced back to around the 6th century, when St. Columba is believed to have visited the area. Around 580 AD, St. Columba made a long journey from his monastery on the Isle of Iona to the court of Bride, the Pictish king, in Inverness. In an account of St. Columba's life, written in the 7th century, it is written that he stopped at a place called Urquhart, which is most likely Urquhart. A Pictish nobleman named Emchath was the ruler here at the time. Emchath was near death, and Columba baptized him and his entire family. The Emchath residence may have stood on the site of the castle. The discovery of a Pictish brooch fragment from the late 700s or early 800s suggests that the headland may have been a high-status Pictish site. In the Middle Ages, traveling by boat would have been a very important method of transport. It was much easier than overland in many cases, and St. Columba may have taken this route on his journey to see King Bride. Also in the life of St. Columba, on his way to see King Bride, it is written that he encountered a water beast in the River Ness. He chased it away by raising his hand and making the sign of the cross in the air, which is one of the earliest sources for the myth of the Lochness Monster. The ruins that we can see today date from the mid to early 13th century. Its strategic location allowed it to serve as a military fort. The Urquhart Gate was built in the late 13th century by the Comyn family. The Comyns were a powerful family who were considered for the Scottish throne and were rivals of Robert the Bruce. Originally granted to Thomas de London by Alexander II, it later became a royal castle. It witnessed many sieges and battles, most notably during Edward I's invasion in 1296, which marked the beginning of a series of conflicts for control of this important stronghold. Throughout the 14th century, Urquhart was often fought over between Scottish clans and English forces. The castle came under the control of Robert the Bruce after he became King of Scotland in 1306. Under Robert the Bruce's command, the castle became an important site in the struggle for Scottish independence. In 1332, in the troubled times following Robert I's death, Urquhart was the only castle in the Highlands to hold out against the English. The castle changed hands several times due to shifting allegiances among local clans, particularly the MacDonalds, lords of the Isles, who raided it several times. Their final raid in 1545 proved to be the worst. The Islesmen made off with a vast haul of treasure, including 3 large ships and 20 guns. James IV had granted the barony of Urquhart to the Grant family in 1509, with instructions to restore the castle and its lands. The Grant family built Grant's Tower, a 5-story tower house, sometime in the 1500s. In 1688, the Catholic King James VII and II was exiled. The crown passed to his Protestant daughter, Mary II, and her husband, William of Orange. The castle's military significance waned after it was garrisoned for the last time in 1689. This glorious revolution sparked the First Jacobite Rebellion, a series of armed attempts to restore the Catholic Stuart line, which lasted for more than 50 years. Much of the Jacobite support came from the Highlands, so Urquhart garrisoned government forces for more than 2 years. The gatehouse was protected by a moat along with a barred gate, like that at Edinburgh Castle, with 2 strong wooden doors after it. To prevent its use by Jacobite forces, the gatehouse was deliberately destroyed. When the last soldiers left the castle in 1692, they blew it up. This act of destruction marked the beginning of its decline into ruins, with parts of the building collapsing over the following centuries. Part of Grant's Tower collapsed to the ground in 1715 during a violent storm. Attitudes towards the ancient fortress changed in the 1800s, and Urquhart began to be seen as a magnificent ruin in a magnificent setting. The castle was handed over to the state in 1913 and is now one of Scotland's most visited castles. Today, Urquhart Castle is a popular tourist destination, attracting more than 500,000 visitors each year. The site offers beautiful views of Loch Ness and has a modern visitor center displaying artifacts from its rich history. Visitors can explore aspects of medieval life through exhibitions and replicas, including a full-size working trebuchet. This trebuchet is a reconstruction of a weapon that Edward would have used at the time. Stone balls used to launch the ammunition were found at the Urquhart site. Thank you for joining the Arifs documentary as we explore Urquhart Castle.